Hi, I'm Jessica and I'm a tutor at Chegg.com. Today we're going to talk about equilateral triangles and isosceles triangles. Equilateral triangles are special because all of the sides are congruent, and I'm going to mark that with a hash mark. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. And they're also special because the angles are all congruent. Now, not only are they congruent, they're also equal to something special. We know there's 180 degrees total in a triangle. If I divide that by the total number of angles, which is 3, we'll find that each angle is 60 degrees. This is 60, this one is 60, and this one is 60. And this is the case for all equilateral triangles. So an equilateral triangle is a triangle where all 3 sides are congruent and all 3 angles. So the angles are equiangular and the sides are equilateral. Isosceles triangle has at least 2 congruent sides. So if it has at least 2 congruent sides, that means an equilateral triangle is also an isosceles triangle. Equilateral has at least 2 congruent sides. The angles opposite the congruent sides are also congruent. These are called the base angles. Now, they're not always the same like on an equilateral triangle. They are dependent on this vertex angle. So this angle is called the vertex angle. And the other 2 are called base angles. So what we're going to do today is we're going to solve a couple of problems with equilateral and isosceles triangles. So the first one, it tells you that they're all equilateral because they're marked. And if this one's 4, they're all 4. We also know that these are 60 degrees because this is an equilateral triangle because it was marked that way when we got it. On this one, we're not quite sure, but I'm going to mark it so that we know this is equilateral. Because this is equilateral, I know that each one of these equals 60. So that means 2x is 60, which means x equals 30 if I divide both sides by 2. We can find x, y, and z in a similar manner. So 4y is 60. If I divide both sides by 4, I get that y is 15. 3z is also equal to 60 because each angle is 60. If I divide both sides by 3, we get z is equal to 20. Okay. A common misconception is once they find these, kids think that those are actually angles. This is just the variables. The angles are always going to be 60 because this is an equilateral triangle. Okay, here we have an isosceles triangle because at least 2 sides are marked. If this one is 3, this one is 3. Now, it is impossible for us to tell the angles because we know nothing about the angles. We do know that altogether they equal 180, but because we don't know the vertex angle, there's no way to possibly tell what the base angles are. Now, in this one we don't know the sides, but that's okay. We're not going to find the sides, and you can't find the sides if nothing is marked. But we know the base is 70, so that means the angle across from the congruent sides is also the same. So these base angles are both 70. Given that these are both 70, we can easily find this vertex angle by adding these two. 70 and 70 is 140. And we know that there are 180 degrees in the triangle. So 180 minus 140 is 40. So which means the vertex angle at the top is 40. This triangle, we know that the side is 2, therefore the other side is 2. Now it is impossible for us at this point, given what we know in geometry, to figure out what this base, the base is actually. You could do law of sines and law of cosines to figure this out later on. So if this is 52 degrees and I need to figure out the other 2 angles, what I can do is subtract 52 from 180. So 180 minus 52, that's supposed to be a 5. I'm not sure what's going on. It looks like an 8. Let me erase it. Okay, so this is 52. If I subtract 180 minus 52, I get 128. Now, 128 is the measure of both of these together. So to find 1, I need to divide by 2. and 128 divided by 2 is 64, which means both of these base angles are 64. A common misconception is that once the students find 128, a lot of times they'll think both of those are 128 without checking. So a good way to do this is to plug everything in and notice it's greater than 180. Often students don't do that, but a good thing to do is if you have the vertex, subtract it and get the total of these two, and then we divide by 2 because we know they're congruent because they are across from the sides. If you would like to know more about equilateral triangles and isosceles triangles, please contact me at chegg.com. Thank you.